Good morning. Actually, great to see so many people, and I'm really sorry, Paulus, for making you speak English. Hopefully you can forgive me for that.
German.
It's better. Well, we could do that in German as well. I can also fake an Austrian accent if you want to, but maybe for a different time. So yeah, if you want, yeah, that's still not my slide. It's probably there we are. As I said, so I'm the Vice President Marketing and Consulting in Pimcore. So why am I here today? Basically to give you a short overview of what we are doing as a platform, which would be actually pretty boring and quite salesy and advertising style if I would just tell you what the platform is, and I think there's no real benefit in that. So we switched the presentation a bit. So it's still, right, I talk about details and data, and maybe I can also get fast cars in there, let's see. But what I will do is basically try to get into some of the things that we see that retailers or e-commerce players are actually struggling with right now, and how some of our clients have solved that over the last couple of years. So this is my Lithuanian, basically, in a nutshell. So I can't really, I'm not confident enough to read it out loud. So hi, my name's Philip. I'm really pleased to be here. So let's jump right in. So what I have, as I said, some e-commerce challenges, something about Pimcore, obviously. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to ask me or my colleague Susanna over there in the breaks or after the event. And of course, as I said, some cases that we brought for you as well. So let's jump into some challenges that we see. So the first one is actually, I think it's basically quite obvious by now. So we have this famous quote saying, you know, data is the fuel of the new century, basically, which is still essentially true. What we are all striving for, we've seen that, we've talked about conversion a bit. We talked about optimizing our journeys to actually sell more or sell better or sell more effectively, depending on what kind of focus you have. But one thing is common. When you want to build, or if you want to build exceptional journeys that are actually surprising your users and actually engaging them and buying with you, you will probably need a ton of data. And great experience also produce a ton of data that needs to get managed. We're back to the racing car, actually. Oh, that worked quite well as a metaphor. You actually produce a lot of data because you have more points of contact with your customers. You have more points in the journey that are of interest. You collect more data throughout the whole life cycle. So you need to manage all of that. And we are combining channels, obviously, as well. So we have the online channels, we have the offline channels. We maybe have some kind of pop-up store that comes up from time to time. Or we have different channels that are emerging. All of this needs to be combined, and all of that needs to be seamlessly available and accessible within your organization. Otherwise, you will have a ton of data, but you're not able to action on it, which is a real problem. The next one, oh, it's still working. That's great. The next one is especially interesting, I guess, for retailers, or it's actually a retail problem. A new touch point every day. I mean, we see a lot of, probably see that over the course of the day as well. We have a lot of channels that we haven't foreseen in the last couple of years. If you would have asked me, and I'm doing that also for like around 20 years now, if you would have asked me 5 years ago if, you know, conversational commerce actually heads off, I would have said, nah, probably not. Yeah? Well, that would have been bad. So you see a lot of touch points emerging, be it new social media networks, be it new channels, be it new kind of concepts that are emerging, and those needs to be managed. And those channels need to be onboarded, and they need to be onboarded very fast because it can go away quite quickly, or as quickly as it actually came to life. We had that at the beginning of the pandemic in Germany. There was a huge hype around a social media app, which was called Clubhouse. I'm not sure if that was also a thing in Lithuania. It was basically kind of a town hall meeting kind of thing, so you could have a discussion and then people could have joined in and stuff like that, which actually was famous for about what felt like 5 minutes. So all of a sudden, everyone in media and in retail was actually on Clubhouse, and like 3 months later, everybody was bored of it and the channel was gone already. But there were a couple of retailers that actually made a really good cut on that because they reacted quite quickly and understood how they can use it to leverage it to show off their product data within that kind of conversations. So managing those touch points and equipping them with the right data at the right time is actually one step into mastering that kind of opportunity. The last one is especially interesting in the European Union. You are no longer judged by your actions. You are actually measured against the action of your suppliers and the suppliers of your suppliers and the suppliers of the suppliers of the suppliers and so on and so forth. The point there is there is a huge requirement coming just from a legislative side, but also from a customer demand side, that wants to have transparency over supply chain, over processes, over how things are manufactured, where they are sourced from and stuff like that. So you need to have your supply chain under control, and you need to understand the data that is produced out of that. Is that something that is, are you want to go for B Corp certification, or if you want to just being able to cope with the requirements coming from the legislative, like the digital product pass in the European Union over the next couple of years. This will be really interesting because we see that a lot of our clients actually, especially in manufacturing, but also kind of in retail and wholesale, they have that data somewhere in procurement, in an Excel sheet, in a PDF that is somewhere in a closet locked away, but they do not have it accessible. They do not have it accessible for their end customers, and also not for their digital suppliers to cope with those requirements around the digital product pass. So there's a huge chunk of data that needs to get managed just to adhere to legislation. And customers are also asking for that. I've read the other day a quite disturbing fact that alone Temu and Shein, Shein is the right pronunciation, right? Are producing more than 5,000 metric tons of air cargo every day coming into the European Union. 5,000 metric tons. So that kind of shopping behavior obviously is there, but we have a huge counter trend actually as well, where customers are demanding a better and more ecological friendly kind of shopping experience. And in order to make sure that they're getting that, we need to get the data available for them. So it's a lot about data, obviously. So how do you manage that? Luckily for you, there's Pimcore. Haha, oh, that was kind of smooth. So I did think about starting with, we are a very fast car, but anyway, what we are is basically a platform. And I will give you some details, but I will spare you most of them actually, because we are a really huge platform. What we are doing is essentially two things. We are combining data management and experience management. What do we mean by that? So we not only have like a master data management and the PIM, which is obviously in the name, but we also have like a CDP. We have also experience components like a DXP, so a content management system basically, which can be used in different ways. We have an eCommerce engine. We have portals to make data accessible. Why we did that, basically on the contrary to the rest of the market, with specialized software and this kind of best of breed and Mach architecture you might have heard about. The reason why we combined it is we said, well, it just makes sense. Because I need to have my data available, and I need to have it available in every channel, so it just makes sense to keep them closely together. That's the reason, or that's why Pimcore was born. We are divided it in a lot of platform modules, and as I said, there are some details, but I will spare you most of them. What we do in data management, I said that earlier as well. So we have a product information management system. It's in the name, obviously. We have the master data management. We have an asset management customer data platform. On the right-hand side, we see the experience management components, so our digital experience management platform, our e-commerce, and our portals. And they each talk to each other, and they're all pretty well integrated into each other. And we have a lot of integration components to connect to the outside world, basically, and make sure that data is not only accessible within the platform, but everywhere you need it. I will, as I said, spare you most of the details, and of course, there is a lot of service that we're offering on top of that, together with our partners like NFQ. So if you're interested in any way, shape, or form in those topics, we can jump into that at a later point in time. I have like 10 minutes left, and I have my customer cases with me. So let's jump right into that. So as you can see, it's really about connecting the dots. So when you have assets, when you have product data, then you're actually capable of building cool experiences. And that's why we put it together in one platform. So let's see how we did that in different cases, shall we? I actually have an experiment, and I added that actually last minute that I wanted to do. So why data is important in the first place? Because we have the tendency to always talk about data and how important it is and how important product information management is, and that you shall have all the data and the attributes. And there's always somebody in the room and says, well, I'm selling products already. I don't necessarily need data for that, obviously. But it has a huge influence. And I guess the UX guys will pick that up maybe later on. Yay, as well. And I have an experiment on that, basically, that I ran for another presentation, and I liked it so much that I actually included it in this one as well. So let's take a look at data. Why should I care about it at all in the first place? So I have I'm not sure why I picked drum. That maybe says more about me than anything else, but anyway. So what you see here on this really high quality screenshot that I took, it's Kaufland.de. It's a marketplace in Germany where you can buy basically literally everything, including rum. And that is a product that has a very small amount of product data. As you can see here, it just says, yeah, this is rum. That's more or less it. It also just costs €8, so probably is basically something that makes you blind anyway. But it is a good example for being just something that is very generic. So there is not much information about the product. We just see that we only have one picture or two pictures here included. There is nothing about ingredients. There's nothing about where it comes from, what it is, how it tastes, stuff like that. And we have another rum, which is, to be fair, in another price range. But what it also has is a lot of product data. So in this text, that you can't read, obviously, in this text, if you could read that, it would be in German anyway. But besides that, it says a lot about how it's made, where it comes from, what kind of flavors are included, how does it taste, and stuff like that. How does its structure look like? And it's a really poetic text, to be honest, about rum. And so what they did here is they added a lot of product data in context to that. So why does that matter? The first thing that is quite obvious, if you would ask me if I would buy rather a product that costs me like €99, but it has a nice description and I have a lot of pictures, rather than buying a product that costs, €8 and has nothing on it, then I would rather maybe go for the one with more product data in it, because I just have the feeling that I get something of value because somebody's taking care of it. That's what data actually transfers or conveys, basically. And there is another layer to that, actually, besides the sheer fact that obviously it drives conversion. We are at the dawn of AI. We all know that. There's also, I think, a slot later on today on that. And also for AI will not just magically fix all our problems, obviously. So we need data for that again. So as I said, it's an experiment. So what I asked ChatGPT was basically, can you generate me a social media ad, a visual and a copy for the following product? And then I just sent the product from Kaufland directly into that. And what happened out of that, the result out of that is this. So I got 2 copies and 2 social media ads for 2 rums. The left-hand one is the one with the bad product data, and what you can see here, and you can actually read that, is basically a generic text that says rum belongs in cocktails. That's essentially what it says. The image that was generated is basically just a ripoff of Bacardi, and it's just made in Ireland. Yeah, well, that makes total sense. What we have on the right-hand side, on the contrary, is actually we have a really engaging text. We have a really satisfying and awesome ad that was created. Out of that, it says where it comes from, what kind of oak the barrel was, and stuff like that. And also, the flavors that are mentioned in the product description are also reflected on the imagery that was generated. So we see that adding context in form of data is crucial in being successful with AI. Because otherwise, if you don't have the data ready, actually, and you don't understand your products, then the AI will not understand your product and do just something generic, like rum belongs in cocktails. We all know that, and that's the reason why AI knows that. If we want to tell a different story with the help of AI and being able to actually leverage on what AI can do for us from an efficiency perspective, we need data. That's just a small experiment that I wanted to share before I actually get into 2 customer cases that we have that also tie into that story somehow. We have Rügenwalder Mühle. So it's the first time that I actually needed to work with Google Documents. So sorry for that. That's the reason why my slide does not look like it should look. But anyway, we have Rügenwalder Mühle. Rügenwalder Mühle is a German food manufacturing company. They're doing a lot of stuff. They were founded in the 1800s. They are doing basically meat and vegetarian stuff and vegan stuff. And they had a major dramatic change within the company because the vegan and vegetarian stuff is actually now the bigger business line than their traditional meat-based business. What they have and what they are facing is obviously a lot of legislative requirements and also allergic requirements and stuff like that. So as they are handling food and producers, they need to have a really, really good overview on data. So what they did with Pimcore basically, and I have a video that starts playing, yes, great, from their website. So what you can see here basically is just the user experience that they're having there. You can now argue if you like it or not, but the point here is that you see already that they are using a lot of data just to make sure that the customer finds the right product. Is it a vegetarian one? Is it a vegan one? Is it something with meat? How do I use that what kind of ingredients are in there? Is it with chicken or not? Is it with soy or not? What is actually what kind of, here are the ingredients. Here are also the nutritional information that we can see here. What they also have is they've made matching recipes basically for that to drive conversion as well. And there is a second twist on that, actually, just besides having data and showing that in order to make customers find the product. What they also did is they are driving in-store sales basically. So they are not shipping on their own, but they have like the grocery retail chains that they're working with. So what they do on their website is basically they have the product information available for where I get that particular product in my region at different. So this is now an Edeka, which is a grocery retail chain. This is an Rewe, which is also a grocery retail chain. There might be a Lidl on that as well. The point is that they have a lot of data about product availability, not only product data, but also product availability with their partners to get people actually buying that. That kind of data management is what I mean when I say, combine data for great experiences. Another one is Stier, a German manufacturing company, basically known for men toys, chainsaws, stuff like that, right? What you need in the garden, or probably not need, but you buy it anyway. What they did is actually they are using their product data to actually build very sophisticated kind of guided shopping experiences. Because it's rather complicated, obviously, to buy the right chainsaw or the right lawnmower, because you have a lot of things that you have to consider. What I will show you is actually the configurator for the lawnmower, the automatic lawnmower. And just while you're watching it, and I will try to emphasize on that as well, think about the amount of data that you need on each product, basically, to make that work. And think about if you could actually do that as well. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. What they also have, and I wasn't quite sure which one to pick, actually, they also have an accessory and consumables finder, basically. So if you need a new chain or if you need a new spare part or whatever, you can actually drill down very, very deeply into the product to find the right part for your given saw. So what they're doing in this lawnmower finder is basically they're starting off with some questions about how you used it, how big is your lawn. Is it like, is it steep or not? Is it just a plain, or is it, I have a small bridge in my garden or whatever. Do I want some connectivity on that? So shall it be possible to have LTE for whatever reason? And then you can actually pick that one. And now I've picked a model, and what they are now doing, which is also interesting, is they are also driving their sales, or their service sales basically on that. They are obviously doing a lot of upsells with accessories that I can add and some services that I can add so that I can say, well, it would be nice if you come over and actually install it instead of myself. And at the end of the day, I have that they generate a PDF document basically with my order. It can also be directly sent to a contract partner of them in order to get the right lawnmower for me. So as I said, the point there is that it's actually using the product data that is available in their PIM, which is Pimcore, obviously, for building that kind of experience. So those are the kind of things that I wanted to show and that I wanted to share with you. And I have 55 seconds left. That is great. Just to show that actually there is a certain grain of truth in it if I say that, great experience need great data. And you can manage that with our platform. Obviously, we have a lot of more cool stories around a lot of different brands. So if you want to check out pimcore.com, we have over 500 success stories of different industries, be it banking, be it finance, be it retail, be it wholesale, direct to consumer, FMCG, whatever it is. Actually, we probably have a success story on that one. So please check that out. And one last shameless advertising actually at the end. We will have an event on the 19th and 20th of March. I know it's short notice, but I wanted to include it anyway, in Zell am See in Austria, which is called Pimcore Inspire. It will be a great event. My team is working their asses off actually to get there. If you're interested in that, either scan the QR code or just go on pimcore.com/inspire to see what we're up to. We would like to see 1 or 2 faces from Lithuania as well. NFQ will be there as well. So, and with that shameless plug, I say thank you, you rock. Those are my contact details if you have any kind of questions afterwards. So I have to leave very early for the airport. I'm sorry for that. If you have any questions after that, contact me on LinkedIn, write me a text message, write me an email, whatever fancies you the most. Really looking forward to hear from you, and I'm totally on time. Thank you.